Good morning. Welcome to Flat Earth Early Bird number 1608. I'm your host, Arwin. And before we start the show, please don't forget to share it on any platform you deem fit. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification so you know when I'm going live, which is normally 1 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekdays and 2 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekend. And please also do support me through the PayPal and the Patreon. That would be much appreciated. I can always use the support. Alright, so yeah, starting late today. Sorry about that. The weather is hot. And yeah, it's kind of like yesterday, except now there isn't any wind, or barely any. So it's really hot out there. I've actually been out for groceries already. Like in my shorts and t-shirt, and it's like, yeah, even wearing sandals and everything. It's just really hot out there, right? Plants still crushing it. And yeah, all the greens out there are booming with this heat, and they're still moist in the air, so it's not like it's drying out. Everything's just growing like crazy, I think. Birds are very active out there. Right. Hello, that bad guy, first in chat. It is Monday, the 22nd of May, 2023. Yeah, and I'm really late. Sorry about that. Well, cats. Who's hanging around? Right, but I thought, like, I got up pretty early and I would just want to get the groceries so that I wouldn't have to leave during FED. But yeah, that resulted in me being a little late. And then that all just expanded. So yeah, today's going to be a bit of a short show, but let's make something from it. Come on. It is, wow, 25 degrees Celsius. Yeah. It says it's going to be cooler tomorrow, but I don't know. We almost got hit by like a lightning storm, by the way, in the evening, or yeah, at night, but I mean, it didn't really get close. But I could hear some lightning or some thunder in the distance last night. Hey, Dr. Utker, good to see you. Right, so yeah, I made it through the the thin weekend. Did not have much to eat, but yeah, I made it through, so that's great. Did actually eat quite well yesterday. Right, so I got still some of the greens here. Oh man, you gotta be quick with that stuff, by the way, because with this heat, it does like start to rot or decompose rather quickly. Most of it still is great though. Right. So yeah, I'm here. I'm a bit flustered because it's like really hot and the sun is still hitting the wall. Should get a lot better, like probably in around 10 to 20 minutes. But now it's like pretty hot. It's almost like no t-shirt hot. Right, so how you guys doing? I thought yesterday's show was actually really good. I didn't watch it back, but just from memory, fluid, good subjects, stuff to think about that I thought about even after the show. About what is really the sin, and it's a bit confusing. Yep, Earth is definitely flat. Right. I barely even bring it up anymore because it's just so automatic to me. Hey, Fiber Outs, good to see you. Right, but I did think from yesterday it was a really good point to basically emphasize like where the actual sin lies, and it is in an action that's driven by potentially the 7 deadly sins, or rather like like those are it's a little complicated because those are not just actions, things like gluttony or just eating, right? But it's doing it too much. So it's not just an action. It's an action with a certain intention behind it, with a drive. All of them are all, by the way, driven by obsession, which is a very interesting to take note of. So, yeah, effectively, anybody can be afflicted or tempted by certain sinful traits, but you can fight against that, and then you might, like a glutton might be like oh, they just want to eat all the time, but they might learn to deal with it and not to obsess over food as much. And then you could say they overcame the impulse or the sin, and they don't sin, even though it's gonna be in there. It's gonna remain tempting them, right? And the same goes with all the other sins. Right, so the sin is really in the action, and then you can become addicted to the joy of that action, because most sins are driven by a longing that separates you. And then, yeah, if you become addicted to it, you'll keep doing it. Now you're like a genuine sinner. If you do it once and then you figure out, like, wait, I'm definitely not gonna do this, then you can keep it away from you. And then you have sinned, but you basically redeem yourself. And that's where I really think, like, that's where the crux is. That's where the real forgiveness comes in. Like, the forgiveness from God comes specifically in the redemption. It's like this, like, Anybody can make a mistake. But if you don't figure out that it is a mistake, or when you're confronted with that it is a mistake and you can't be made to realize it, and you brace against those that try to point it out, then you become like an active sinner. I don't know. It just made me think a lot. Because, like, it does matter. Because when you sin, there is a direct price from within creation. What happens with you because of it, and what happens with your spirit. And that is just there. So it's kind of important, really, to figure out exactly what it is. Because if you're just going to be thinking about a sin, is that going to have a price? Like that? Well, the funny thing is that technically, yeah. Because if you keep thinking about it, then you roll into obsession. You might not act, but you might still roll into obsession, and then you think about the sinful thing continually, which takes away your attention from doing what you're supposed to be doing in life, the normal life, right? So in that sense, obsession is a potential sin if it involves sins. If it involves the more straightforward sins and you have obsession over them, that is a sin. Because what should you do in the face of sin? You should stave it off. You should push yourself away from it, draw your attention away from it. And if you then don't do it, if you obsess over it, well, you might not literally be committing the sin, but from everybody's experience, it's only a matter of time. Once you start obsessing over something and you don't let it go, it's gonna happen. Self-fulfilling prophecy effect. You could tie into it as well. Alright, anyway, hello Dan, good to see you. George Sanford. Right. Right. So here's the tricky part. What if you're like a typically obsessive person? Well, then you got a real big challenge in life versus the sins. So it's only a matter of time before you get enthralled by some sin for some reason, and then you really have to face that, dealing with it. So how do you deal with that? Well, the best way to not approach it is to continually think, don't think about that, don't think about that, don't do that, don't do that. As we all know from 6-year-olds, if you tell them not to do something, they're going to become obsessed with it. So take that into account and don't do that. Instead, figure out something that is different but fulfilling and distracting enough so that you don't think about it. And hopefully something productive too. It's to counter obsession with some negative action, you have to initiate positive action that is on its own. It's not there to counter the negative ideas. It's overriding it. It's you're doing the new thing, and then that's going to be the thing you're thinking about. And then, if it works successfully, you forget about the sinful thing. And that's really the trick. And that is why, for example, being obsessive over positive traits like productivity is really helpful against sins. Because it's like you must keep going, you must keep moving. That way you never get stuck and wonder like, oh, this sin. You don't give yourself time for that. Anyway. What? Israel to create... Yeah, I don't know about that, Dank. I didn't see it in there. It's like a could potentially be situation, but it feels to me very similar to the time when with the Isle of Man 2017 on the Flat Earth debates, Ranty and Riley and all that. When they thought, and I thought it too for a second, that like they're looking at Ireland, right? But it was wrong. It wasn't Ireland. And so I think it's just mistaken. I don't think they're actually seeing Crete there. It rather looked like it could be just a cloud in front of the sun. There was nothing there that I saw in the video they showed that gave me like, oh yeah, there's definitely something there physically obstructing it. I did not have that at all. So I think they're just mistaken. I mean, they still see the oil platform though. It's still a black swan. It's just not that far. I think overall it's probably very unlikely that you could see that far looking over the ocean. Because there's moist everywhere over the ocean. It's gonna create more refraction, which is going to lead to closer by cutoff of the line of sight. So like even the oil platform sites, that's already pretty rare. You don't see that every time because of the moist. So I'm not too sure, Dank. Man, those birds are all chugging down that water. I think I'm probably gonna have to refill that soon. But yeah, it's pretty, like on the roof, it's pretty damn hot. Okay, you could all just stop talking as well. Just don't say anything anymore for 5 fucking minutes in a row when I'm trying to have a conversation. You could do that too. Ugh. Hey, Slow-mo Moonwagi, good to see you. Rolling in joint. Okay. Isn't that a bit early? Cat sitting outside there in the shade. I got a good place. There's a bit of wind. I mean, it is really hot right now. Out there. It's hotter out there than it's in here. Oh, what? Really, George? Huh. Yeah, that does happen. That's weird. NASA on top of it, and then the rest is all just nonsense. That's a weird thing. Yeah, it's just them goofing around, I think. It's all attention grabbing. They did give many the info of Flat Earth? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, George Sanford? Could you be any more vague? They say it is flat and round. Who? Who says that? What the fuck are you talking about? Citation. Who said that? Name the name. They all say it as a bear. Oh, really? Who does? Oh, NASA. Oh, that person. Okay. I didn't know there was somebody called NASA. I think you're mixing up just hypotheticals. And sometimes NASA people go into calculation stuff and then basically effectively mess it up. And if you then know what it's about, then you know that they basically prove a flat earth and all that. Yeah, sure. But they don't overtly state that. They sometimes just say things that infer it. People on shows that are representatives of NASA. Besides, really, who gives a shit what NASA does? Who actually watches that crap? Do you know any person or a kid or something that actually follows NASA? How many children do you know do that? I mean, NASA gets star status, but I doubt, it's like nobody gives a shit, really. Except maybe boomers that are really personally invested somehow with their own value. Their own sense of self-value. Right? But just name a person that you know in your life. You don't have to say it in chat, but a person that's like really into NASA. Not talking about, oh, they really believe it's a globe and they don't like flat earth ideas. But just people that actually follow NASA. I think that in my entire life I've seen like 3 of them, and they were all very distinctly mentally retarded. Okay? It wasn't that many. People would sort of defend it like a baller, but they wouldn't be into it. You see? Even when I was a globe believer and like effectively trying to be a creator of the globe conceptions already from within it, I didn't watch fucking NASA. Even back then I thought NASA is fucking garbage. They're trying to ruin it for everybody. They're fucking around with you. It's like they're agitators. Right? So most people, they're just like, yeah, of course, NASA. It's just the general talk and, oh, they did this, cool. If it's on TV, they might take a look. But most people just don't give a fuck. They don't care. And then they'll be like, don't be ridiculous with NASA's all bullshit. And then you actually show them something and they'll be like, what the fuck is this? You're trolling me, aren't you? Like, they don't believe it, right? That is the overall attitude. People don't defend it because they love watching NASA so much. They just defend it as some sort of social default attitude. Do you know anybody personally that actually watched what? I'm not even talking about now. I'm talking about in your life. A person in your life, going all the way back, half a century probably for most of you. Anybody that's actually into NASA watching that shit. How many people do you know? I know about 3. And I didn't know them well. Your brother. A cult following of people in Florida that'll travel every launch. Okay. Is that into NASA, or are they just into rocket launches? I mean, rocket launches is basically just big fireworks. Dude, I'd be into that. I want to see that shit. And hear it and feel the... Love it. Sure. That doesn't mean that I fucking watch NASA. It just means like, hey, cool. A little spectacle. Why not? You were? Right. But you're an artist, though. So, it's forgiven. I was into the visuals myself. But I would pick it from anything. Usually I just pick my artist hunger and curiosity towards planets from science fiction movies and such. That's where I got it, not from frickin' NASA. Because it's all garbage. They give you is garbage. And a bunch of starry skies. Ooh, look at the starry skies. Oh, who gives a fuck? I'd only be interested in up-close things. Not in a bunch of enhanced starry skies. Who gives a fuck? Well, the stuff they've given us up close looks horrendous. It didn't work on me. My eyes are too good. I just, even before I believed, or before I figured out flat earth, even before all that, I could just see, like, this is just garbage. I never was a fan of it. Except maybe for the moon landing a bit. But that's because there was just so much stuff in there. Right? Because there were just like a kind of a spectacle with like, oh, they're running on the moon and in the moon buggy and ooh, see that thing launch and see it in space. There was just a lot of different things that made it entertaining. And I was like, just like, yeah, it kind of looks crappy, but that might just be the camera or whatever. Now, of course, much later, now, I'm actually seeing like the moonlander with high resolution photographs, and now I'm thinking like, what the fuck? And even way back, like, you would get to see like the moonlander in magazines. But I would just believe like, no, that's probably a prop. Not realizing that the whole thing was always a prop. So that's how I would see it. It's just like, yeah, that's just pretending. But it could still be out there, right? They're covering it up. They're just giving us CGI and they're keeping the real thing classified. Right? The secret moon mission. The real one. Brother is fried. Fried from space. So does he have like emotional issues? Would be a good reason. If he's not super sociable and he has like a lot of personal emotional issues, that you can become completely addicted to space. It's what happened to me very young. It's like, people. You have people, learn to deal with them. Or you have space that you can imagine, that you can watch and play computer games even with that theme. Like, and I was like, yeah, I'll take space. Because people suck. And could barely talk coherently. That was my issue, like, when I was freaking 6. I was just there with other kids in kindergarten. And I'm like, I want to try to have a conversation. And they would not even get close. Like, everybody was just an impulsive little retard. And I'm like, I want to try to grow into adulthood. So it's like, yeah, fuck this world, man. Fuck all the fucking retards everywhere. You know how much it sucks? Well, space was a great escape. So a lot of people that are just into space shit are like, yeah, I'm into space because fuck humanity. They suck. All of them suck and they're fucking retarded. And then if you hold on to that, well, then you get a really malformed view on humanity. And you can't back up the reasons anymore. You become completely detached. Well, I did not allow it to get that far. Because I realized that, yeah, I am kind of escaping from it. But I need to get better at it. if I want to become competent at anything. You need to learn to deal with humans. No matter how retarded and tenacious they are with their stupidity. And how easily from one idiocy they jump from one to the next. Right? Spend all this time trying to convince them, like, yeah, this is just stupid, don't do that. And then when they finally get that into their heads, they immediately seek out something else that's just as fucking stupid, and then you have to start all over again. Because they just want to do fucking retard stuff. And there's nothing you can do. They want to be retarded. They don't want to be awakened. They want to sleep. And don't care. Humans are... No, that doesn't make any sense. There's just a lot of people that are really freaking weak. But yeah, I mean... Oh, look at Arwen pointing at other people agitated over weaknesses when I clearly have weaknesses. So... But the weaknesses come from vulnerability. And vulnerability is usually... It's just a bigger challenge. Means you have a bigger range, but it's also more easily screwed up. So either you let it dilapidate and then remain incompetent, or you take a big challenge that takes a long time and a lot of struggle, and then you become better than everything. You can become better than you were, and you'll become better than the average person. Because you had a challenge and you took it. And you completed it. You overcame the actual weakness. Right? Because sensitivity is a fucking weakness, yeah? It's a weakness. It is. Sensitivity is a weakness. I've got a weakness. And I can't get it away. And I don't want to get it away. Because of the other side of that medallion. So either I remain a frickin' wussy, or I blunt myself off so I don't feel any more weakness, but that's only fucked up things that come from that. Or I learn to deal with it. And that means over and over and over again, forever. Until it is normal. And then the hell of that is just reality. And you don't have to feel burdened from it. It's just something you have to deal with. Why do we understand these truths, but other people just can't? Because they don't have the room for it. Yeah. The truth and knowing it has energy consequences inside your body. Right? Truth, especially about heavy things, takes strain, tension. If you can't handle that, it'll fuck you up. So, if you can't handle the truth, you have to deflect it. You have to put it beside you, you have to let it go. But that's really tough, especially if it's something new that you didn't know before that. But you realize is true. Because usually, you hear something new, and you have a sharp intuition on this, and you don't convolute yourself to hell with all kinds of crazy programming that's unnatural, then you can just instantly, in a second, that's not within a reason process, you can just know. Immediately, you just know. in that like half a second. You just get a flash of energy in your spirit and you just know this is fucking real and I can't handle it. And then goes away again. And then what do? Well, you put it in the background and try to compact the strain that you're getting from it for a long time, and it takes a long time, and until eventually like, oh, it's finally assimilated. Or I can't handle this, I don't want to handle this, and you go ballistic, you get flap out shit, you go panic, and then eventually you'll get so much distraction around you because of that you'll forget about it. It's just another defensive mechanism, right? That's what happens. Right? Because there are so many things in the world that can be known, but so very few people that can handle it. But it's also a more complicated thing, really, because technically people can actually handle it, you see. That's the craziest thing. People can actually handle it. They've just put themselves in a position where they basically choose not to handle it. They choose not to take that strain and be able to handle it. They think that, no, you don't have to, like, we have the right not to take that strain of the truth. That's a thing. It's a thing that people do. It's a terrible, corrupted spiritual culture to do that. And there's plenty of people that do that. They just don't care. Right, so the only real thing you can do to improve everything is to encourage people to see more in themselves. You almost have to like invoke the hero story, because it is that. Everybody's been downplayed through the luxury too. It's luxury that have allowed us to basically get a view of ourselves where you don't have to take any strain. That's only because of the luxury. Yeah, people that don't have luxuries around, they don't worry themselves about that shit. They just have to take it, or they die. Yeah, that's the difference. But with all that luxury, oh, you think that, oh, I can just avoid it. And that's like a game. Like, that's how you do it. Well, it's like the luxuries make you build your own trap, and then you can't handle anything anymore. Because you were capable of avoiding it. Avoiding the confrontation through your luxuries. Through the distractions that are pleasant and more to your personal liking. Now, if you have enough of that, then eventually you'll be so far away from being used to dealing with the strain of handling the truth that you simply just can't do it anymore. Yeah? Luxury is a curse. I mean, yeah, some luxury is great, right? You have enough of it, it curses you. It makes you able to escape dealing with things you should be dealing with. It makes you capable of escaping dealing with strain, and then you become so weakened in the face of handling the truth that you become incapable of handling the truth through luxury. Don't know if anybody's following what I'm talking about here. Hey Kevlar. Yeah, great weekend. and great week. It's going to be a great summer overall. Right. Right, but anyway, what I was just talking about is basically the same effect, the same formula of rough times turn people into legends, right? But luxurious times turns them into pathetic demons. Right? Sometimes the greatest, like for kings and everything, the greatest challenge isn't like when they fight wars, it's like once they've won, that's when they really start to lose it. When they're just so on top that everybody just kind of worships them and they're the hero, and then like temptations all over the place and nobody stops them. And everybody kind of distance themselves from you because you're like the number one guy, the number one alpha. You've dominated everything. You've won. Well, then you get luxuries, you get worship, and that's the risky period. That's when it's actually really risky. That's when the real test starts. Because you're going to get isolated because of the success. On a spiritual way, people are going to isolate themselves from you, and the ones that won't will try to manipulate you and try to get into your head to try to take over power, and then you have to deal with them. And yeah, being in control kind of sucks that way. It makes it much tougher. Yeah. Yeah, Godzilla, exactly. Yes, Richard G, you're correct. Hello, by the way. Yeah, bad times create strong men create good times create weak men create bad times. Now, if only the strong man didn't just create good times, but also dealt with weak men. Like, if you just deal with the weak men in good times, and not just be like, oh, it's all free now. No. That's when the luxury comes in, that's the time to actually tighten the grip, to be more strict. Because that's where Lucifer comes rolling in everybody's head, starts to seduce the shit out of everything. It's because luxury. Right? That's when you have to be stricter than ever. It's not like, oh, we won, it's now going good. Oh, just everybody just squirt and do whatever the fuck you want and waste all your money and... No. That's when you gotta get more strict. So you can break that cycle a bit or stave it off, like arrest it. You can make the good times last longer if you take care of the weakness problem. And by taking care, I don't mean like eliminate them or anything, but actually account for it. Like deal with them. Don't wussify them. Have structure, have programs for the fucking weak men to strengthen up. Yeah, make it a priority. These are good times. We got to ensure the men don't all turn into weak fucking faggots. Yeah? Prioritize it. Realize this is really fucking important. Because if you don't do it, in a decade, it's fucking Hitler all over again. And I'm not even exaggerating. I mean, look at where we're at. I mean, it's too late now. We've got the entire generation of completely fucked up people. I was too young to even know about this sort of thing back then. When it still could have been something. I spoke out when I was younger. Wow, it's like, why isn't there more things to really challenge young men? Like, it's all just stupid sports. Sports are fucking retarded. Why isn't there something more challenging? Right? That's not just military immediately. But yeah, that was for me from a younger perspective. In a time when it could still have mattered a lot. Like the 80s and the 90s. That was the time that we should have been stricter than ever. Look at what they fucking did, man. The 90s. They literally let everything completely trash. Like literal trash. It was all getting trashy. Oh, it's the new thing. Trashy. It's exactly the opposite of what should have happened. And look at where we're fucking at now! We can't let these fucking corporations and their satanic bullshit programming keep doing this. They're ruining everyone, and we're all just staring at it. Like, oh yeah, they're fucked up. Oh yeah, they're fucked up. Oh yeah, the television's all fucked up. Yeah, that's why you don't watch television. Well, when is it actually something gonna be done about it to correct the garbage? To actually do something about it. Not just like, oh yeah, well, just don't look at it then. Well, there's still going to be tons and tons of people that are probably going to look at it. To them, they don't even know there's something better. And they're going to be drained and pulled down by it. Alright? So, yeah, break that cycle. Right? When there's good men that came from bad times creating good times, well, there's good times. you can't just do that. You also have to take into account the frickin' cycle and how good times ruin people. And then have something to account for that. To actually deal with that. To prevent a whole range of deranged men from growing up and ruining it again. If you know it's gonna fucking happen, do something about it! Be stricter than ever. Yeah? I mean, when there's nothing around, it's just poverty and it's all like dilapidated and you want to do something about it. Only thing that works is just hard labor and trying to survive it. But you gotta do it. If you don't do it, you fucking die. Yeah? In good times, you don't have that, pun intended, luxury. When you have the luxury, you don't have the luxury of just, you have to do it or you die. No, now the luxury is in your way for you to dilapidate. And basically twist everything in your mind until you become a terrible, terrible person that makes everybody's lives miserable. Until you get into politics and get even worse. So be strict. When there's luxuries, you have to have more rules. Like, quickly. Don't wait for it to fuck up again. Luxuries, rules. More guide rules. Immediately. No entry without rules. No luxury without rules. That could fix it. No luxury without rules. Just that. Right? Because just luxury without rules, that's Satan. It's just wasteful, pointless, short-term bullshit. Right? Burning up the material, burning up the spirit. You use the material wealth to enhance your spirit with joy and all that. But it burns up too. It doesn't leave anything. You don't actually build anything by just wasting luxury. You burn yourself up. Somebody that's poor, they build spirit more and more and more and more. That's how they become great people. Right? So, rules. Luxury. Rules. Fix it. Fix the problem. The problem is luxury for the individual. It's a bigger problem than the actual challenges that probably came before that. The bigger problem is the fucking luxuries. You have to have rules. You have to have awareness that it's more dangerous. Right? And when I talk rules, I don't mean garbage bureaucracy that's just getting in your way with everything or taxing the shit out of you. I don't mean rules by government. I don't think the government can actually force something like this. Corporations are much more capable of actually forcing something like this. Oh, but guess what? They're all onto the depopulation agenda, so they probably don't really care on trying to stabilize the corruption cycle too much. They'd rather just make you fucking corrupted so that everybody kills themselves. So that's not very helpful right now. We can't use them. We can't use corporations in this garbage unless you arrest all these satanic heads of the hydra of mega corporations, and so that they end that fucking program. No more eugenics garbage, right? And then you could potentially reprogram the media narrative, the universal media narrative, into a system that will ensure that people don't dilapidate again in their recovery, right? The recovery from this drain of the eugenics media. Well, guess what? As soon as that media shit's gone, right? Can you imagine that? Suddenly no more fucking crazy people on TV telling you all this stupid stuff. You have to do everything that would literally fuck everything up, right? Once they're gone, guess what? That's going to be a luxury moment after that. Yeah, guess what? Greatest risk we all ever face. The release after that will allow people to become so manic over that they could be made to agree to whatever fucking insane thing somebody could come up with. So the risk is actually greatest. Greater than any of us have ever seen after the shit ends. It's greater than ever after that. And if there's no proper understanding and structure to deal with that, things could get worse than ever before. Like, even with a lot of lies and illusions out of the way, they could get worse than ever before. Like, way worse than you. It's not going to be like, devil staring at you, demons staring at you, disgusting cretins pretending like they're superior. Not that. Something way more scary and dangerous in people. Way more dangerous. Man, I'm hungry all of a sudden. Rules are a stopgap. Only bad times can shape truly good. Yes. But real disciplined men can basically emulate the bad times in order to shape them into truly good men. So a truly good man would know, it's all good, and then still say, no, I'm not taking that drink, I'm not taking those drugs, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. No, everybody wants free sex, I'm not doing it, I'm not fucking doing it. And those people that have that real discipline, they will still be the good people, and they will start to detect the corruption as it starts to sprout with those that have absolutely no discipline. And there will be those people. One of those people will be me, because I've been doing that for quite some time. All these possibilities, and I'm just like, nope, not doing it anymore. I want to hold on to this spirit. Right, anyway, what am I going to title this thing? Yeah. Rules to prevent good times from creating bad men. That's awesome. I like that. That's a great title. It's been a pretty good show. A bit short, but yeah. Hope you guys appreciate it. Right, but I am gonna round out the show. So, thanks everyone for coming. I hope you liked this show. If you did, then please don't forget to Rogan's it up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification so you know when I'm going live, which is normally 1 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekdays and 2 p.m. Amsterdam time in the weekend. And please also do support me through the PayPal and the Patreon. That'll be much appreciated and I can always use the support, so please keep it coming. That would be great. Yeah. Right, so I'll be back tomorrow with Flat Earth Early Bird number 1609 on a Tuesday, and I'll try to be a little bit more on time. Hope to see you all there, and of course I'm gonna join the Flat Earth debates over at Nathan Oakley 9080 channel, which should start up in about 5 minutes or something like that. Hope to see you there in chat, and until the next video, keep it flat.